Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Sunday, September 11th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, we're going over a quick little recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out. Talking about my core plays for today's main slate is 11-game main slate overall, although there is a couple games that look like a potential rain out today, so definitely be sure you're looking out for that. And then going over to my top stacks for today. At the time of this recording, my article is not yet published over at WeBetATS.com, but once that is available, I'll leave a link to it down in the comments below. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, went with Jack Flaherty at $8,200, only got to 6 points. Kind of a rough start for him versus this Pittsburgh Pirates team that looked like a pretty easy matchup on paper. He threw 90 pitches the timeout before. Thought there could be some upside there. Unfortunately, he didn't even get a single strikeout yesterday. Had like 4 walks. Just wasn't a good day for him overall. Doing it at first base, we had his teammate Paul Goldschmidt, $4,300. Got to 6.2 points to give him a push. Not anybody that killed us, but not anybody that really helped us at the same time yesterday. Then initially I had Javier Baez at second base, and it was a weird situation. The Detroit-Kansas City game actually got bumped up in time and removed from the main slate overall, so had to go with a pivot here. We went with Brendan Rodgers at $2,900, got to 12.2 points, so he was a hit. And then initially in the core picks, we had Josh Rojas at third base. He was $3,400. He did not end up starting, though. So I said you could go with Emmanuel Rivera, who did start in his place. He was $3,000. He ended up with 0 points yesterday. He was a miss. Even though he had pretty good history versus Jose Urena in the past, I think he had like 3 home runs off him. And then you could have gone with Dalton Varsho as well, $3,600. He had a down game, though. He only had 3 points and he was missed. So either way, you kind of play that one out. Just really didn't pan out. And then in the outfield, we had Tyler O'Neill at $3,100. Got to 12.2 points as well, so he was a hit. So kind of a lackluster day overall yesterday. If you had some other good hitters, you might have got bailed out, but a little bit tougher slate overall. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to the core picks for today. So in terms of the core picks that I do have for today, we're going to go with pitcher Luis Garcia at $10,000, averaging about 31 fantasy points per game on the season. He's had 3 pretty good starts versus the Los Angeles Angels this year. There is a small chance that Shohei Ohtani doesn't play in this game. He left yesterday's game with a blister on his finger. Typically affects pitchers more than it affects hitters, so he still should be able to hit, but they might just give him a day off as kind of a precautionary type of thing. Then at first base, we're going to go with Pete Alonso at $3,600. The other 2 guys that I do have in the cheat sheet I like quite a bit with Rhys Hoskins and Ryan Mountcastle, but unfortunately those 2 are in the games that look like they have a pretty strong chance of rainout potential, so we went with Pete Alonso at $3,600. Averaging over 11.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Going against the Miami Marlins and Jesus Luzardo today, he is 2 for 6 with 1 home run versus him in his career, so there is a little bit upside there overall today. Then at second base, we're going with the paydown option in Harold Castro at $2,100, averaging about 7 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been decent as of late, and he is 7 for 14 versus Brady Singer in his career, so a decent amount of upside there as well as some good history. Then at third base, we have Josh Donaldson at $2,400, averaging over 8.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Going against the Tampa Bay Rays, it is Luis Patino pitching today. He is 2 for 4 versus Patino in his career. He's been hitting the ball a little bit better as of late, so some pretty good upside with Josh Donaldson overall. And then last but not least, we have George Springer at $3,700, averaging over 11 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Texas Rangers and Martin Perez. He is 8 for 25 with 2 home runs versus Martin Perez in his career, so definitely cannot go wrong there. The only thing I will say is Perez has been pretty good at eliminating home runs so far this season, so maybe we're not quite expecting a home run, but could still have a pretty strong day overall. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, $13,200 remaining, $3,300 per player. So if you want to pay up for a player, that's definitely viable on today's slate. Or if you want to take a little bit more balanced build, definitely a lot of options out there today on the 11-game slate. You can definitely do that as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my top GPP stacks for today. As I already mentioned, my article is not yet published over at WeBetATS.com, but once that is available, I'll leave a link to that down in the comments below. So the ones that I do have for today are going to be the St. Louis Cardinals going against Mitch Keller. They hit him pretty well earlier this season when they faced him, and they have some pretty decent history versus him in his career. Then we have the Toronto Blue Jays, who have hit Martin Perez pretty well in the past. As I kind of mentioned with George Springer, Perez has been limiting home runs pretty well this year, so there's not like a ton of upside in that regard. But you have some pretty good hitters in this Blue Jays lineup: Bo Bichette, George Springer, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., guys that are hitting the ball relatively well, going against Martin Perez, who's not been quite as good since the All-Star break. And then the last two games I do have, or part of those potential rainout games, Red Sox going against Kyle Bradish. They've hit him pretty well throughout his young career. And then the Philadelphia Phillies going against Anibal Sanchez. There's definitely a lot of upside there as well. But as I mentioned, those games both have a strong chance to rain out, so I'm kind of avoiding them at this point in time. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, September 11th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you had to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. As of right now, we got MLB DFS and NFL DFS going on at this point in time. If you have not checked out the NFL DFS core play video and that's something you're into, definitely be sure to take a look at that before lock today for the NFL main slate. And then once we get back around to the NBA regular season, I'll be covering that as well. And then with that being said, if you're a newer current subscriber yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, got daily MLB DFS videos coming out just like this, as well as some NFL DFS content. So definitely be sure to check that all out. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.